Welcome to Trip Ideas by Ottimo AI. There is a country at the meeting point of Europe and Asia that can feel strangely elusive before you arrive. Its name is Georgia. On a map, it is a small shape beneath the vast sweep of the Caucasus Mountains. In memory, it becomes something much larger. It is the scent of bread fresh from the oven, steam curling into cold air above old sulphur baths, wine poured generously from a bottle that somehow never seems to empty. It is a place of narrow lanes, defensive towers, green valleys and mountains, so immense they seem to belong to myth. Georgia has been shaped by empires, invasions, and long journeys across difficult landscapes, yet it has held on to a character that feels unmistakably its own. Proud, playful, deeply rooted, and open-hearted. This is a journey through three very different corners of the country. First, Tbilisi, where old balconies lean over the river valley, and the past lives beside the new. Then Sighnaghi, a hilltop town surrounded by vineyards and the long light of Kakheti. Finally, Mestia, high in Svan, where stone towers stand beneath glaciers, and every road into the mountains feels like a passage into another age. Take your time here. Georgia is not a place to rush through. It reveals itself slowly, usually around a table. Tbilisi is not a city that introduces itself neatly. It arrives in fragments: a carved wooden balcony, weathered and leaning over a steep lane, a church bell carried over tiled roofs, the green-brown flow of the Kakheti river below, a courtyard with peeling Art Nouveau detail. Then just beyond it, glass, steel, and the hum of a city still inventing itself. The Georgian capital spreads between hills, with neighborhoods climbing and folding into one another. In the old district of Abano-Tubani, low domes rise from the ground like clustered stone shells. Beneath them are the sulphur baths, where hot mineral water has soothed visitors for generations. On a cool day, steam lifts into the air and softens the edges of the streets around it. Begin in the old town without a strict plan. Walk through Sololaki and Betlemi. Let the lanes lead you past faded facades, tangled balconies, and quiet inner courtyards. Tbilisi rewards curiosity. A doorway can open onto a staircase worn smooth by decades of feet. A turn in the street can reveal a hillside of rooftops, towers, and distant mountains. Above the city, Narikala Fortress looks out across the river valley. The climb brings a view that makes Tbilisi's history feel visible. This is a city that has been conquered many times, rebuilt many times, and still refuses to become a museum piece. Its past is not sealed behind glass. It is in the paving stones, the bathhouses, the walls, and the conversations drifting from terrace tables. And then there is the food. In Georgia, eating is rarely only about eating. Order khinkali, the large pleated dumplings filled with soup and meat. Hold one by its top knot, take a careful bite, and drink the broth before it escapes. Try khachapuri, the rich bread shaped like a small boat, filled with molten cheese and crowned with egg. If you're invited to a supra, accept if you can. This traditional feast unfolds with abundance, but also with ceremony. A toastmaster guides the table through toasts that can be tender, funny, philosophical, and deeply personal. Glasses rise for family, friendship, memory, peace, and the guests at the table. For a different side of the city, wander through the dry bridge market, where Soviet relics and odd treasures gather in the open air. Walk up toward leafy Matatsminda as evening begins to cool the streets. And make time for Georgia's amber wines, made through the ancient Kakheti method, fermenting grapes in clay vessels buried beneath the earth. Late spring brings blossoming hillsides and mild days. Autumn is especially beautiful, when the heat eases and the grape harvest fills markets and cellars with the smell of fermenting fruit. Summer can be hot in the lower parts of the city, though shaded terraces come alive after dark. In winter, Tbilisi grows quieter, and the steam from the baths feels even more inviting. Tbilisi does not demand that you understand it immediately. It only asks that you stay long enough for a second glass of wine, a slower walk home, and one more story from someone who was a stranger an hour ago. From Tbilisi, the journey east leads toward Kakheti, Georgia's great wine region. Here, the landscape opens. Vineyards, villages, and rolling fields stretch toward the Alazani Valley, with the snow-dusted Caucasus visible in the distance. On a hill above that valley sits Sighnaghi. It is small, walled, and quietly romantic. Cobbled streets rise between pastel houses. Wooden balconies catch the afternoon sun. Old defensive walls wrap around the town, their towers offering wide views across the countryside. Sighnaghi can be explored in an afternoon, but it is not a place built for hurrying. Its pleasure lies in wandering. Walk along the town walls, climb a tower and look out over tiled roofs toward the valley. Let the streets curve away from you. Almost every corner frames another view. Vines spilling over a courtyard wall, a faded balcony, a distant ridge beneath a large sky. This is a place where wine is not a trend or a tasting note. It is part of the rhythm of life. Families in this region have made wine in Kakheti for thousands of years, using large clay vessels buried in the ground. The method gives Georgian wine its own distinctive character, especially the deep, textured amber wines made from white grapes fermented with their skins. Seek out a family-run cellar and take time to listen. Taste a robust Saperavi red. Try an amber wine alongside Church Keller, the candle-shaped sweet made with nuts dipped in thickened grape juice. The flavors are earthy, bright, and connected to the ground beneath your feet. Nearby, Bodby Monastery sits among cypresses and gardens, a place of quiet importance and pilgrimage. The mood there is different from the gentle bustle of the town, slower, more still. Beyond it, Kakheti invites wandering between villages, vineyards, and open countryside. Autumn is the season that seems to gather all of Sighnaghi's qualities into one moment. In September and October, the Rativeli grape harvest fills the region with activity. The valley turns gold and russet. Cellars open. The air carries wood smoke, ripening fruit, and the scent of wine beginning its long transformation. Spring brings green hillsides and clear mountain views. Summer is warm, sunny, and lively. Winter is crisp and quiet, when the valley seems to belong to the wind and the distant peaks. Sighnaghi offers a simple lesson. The best things are often made slowly. Wine beneath the earth, bread rising in warmth, a conversation lengthening as the light fades over the valley. Then the landscape rises. High in the Svaneti region, Mestia sits among some of the most dramatic mountains in the Caucasus. Reaching it feels significant. The roads draw you away from the broad valleys and toward a world of steep slopes, rushing water, snow-capped peaks, and cloud shadows moving across the land. Mestia's skyline is unlike any other in Georgia. Medieval stone watchtowers rise beside houses and fields, square and severe against the mountains. These are the Svan, built in an era when families fortified themselves against feuds and invaders. They remain as reminders of a region shaped by distance, hardship, and fierce independence. Svaneti is one of the highest permanently inhabited areas in the region. Its isolation has preserved a distinct culture, language, and identity. The people here are known for pride and for hospitality, qualities that are not opposites at all. In the mountains, welcome can be a serious and generous thing. Start by looking up. Towers, ridges, glaciers, and clouds compete for your attention in every direction. Visit the local museum, where religious art, ancient icons, and manuscripts offer a deeper sense of Svaneti's spiritual history. These objects carry the weight of a landscape where faith, family, and survival have long been closely bound. But Mestia is also a place to walk. Summer, from June through September, is the most reliable season for hiking, when trails are clearer and mountain meadows fill with wildflowers. Views toward Mount Ushba and Tetnuldi reveal the scale of this country in a way no photograph can quite contain. Glaciers hang in the distance. Light shifts quickly. The mountains seem close enough to touch, and still impossibly far away. For those with time and strong boots, the longer trek toward Oshguli is one of the region's defining journeys. This remote village is among the highest continuously inhabited settlements in Europe. The route moves through a landscape where the towers, trails, and peaks all seem to belong to the same ancient story. When evening comes, look for Svan food. Kubdari is a spiced meat-filled bread, deeply satisfying after a day in cold mountain air. The local salt blend brings a distinct flavor to the cooking. And if a table is offered, linger. The toasts here may be heartfelt, but they are never casual. They carry gratitude for the meal, the guests, the mountains, and the people who have made a home in their shadow. Winter brings another version of Mestia. Snow covers the towers and settles on the surrounding slopes. It can be a dramatic time for skiing, though mountain roads may be challenging. Summer and early autumn are generally easier for exploring, with longer days and clearer access to villages and trails. Mestia feels ancient, but not frozen in time. Children play beneath stone towers, smoke rises from homes, meals are prepared. People continue to live in this extraordinary place, not as guardians of a legend, but as part of its ongoing life. And perhaps that is what stays with you most. Not only the glaciers, or the towers, or the vastness of the mountains. It is the fierce kindness that survives here, high above the rest of the world. Tbilisi, Sighnaghi and Mestia could almost belong to different countries. One is a restless capital of bathhouse steam, old lanes and long dinners. One is a hilltop town where vineyard country rolls toward the Caucasus, and time seems to settle into the walls. One is a mountain stronghold of stone towers, glaciers, and deep-rooted identity. But together, they reveal something essential about Georgia. This is a country of contrasts that do not compete with one another. Ancient methods and new energy. City noise and mountain silence. A glass of amber wine in a courtyard, then cold air on a trail beneath a glacier. The best time to visit depends on the journey you want. Late spring is gentle in Tbilisi and green in Kakheti. Autumn brings the harvest and some of the richest colours across the wine country. Summer opens the mountain trails around Mestia. Winter offers quieter cities and a snowbound Svaneti, though travel in the mountains can demand more patience. Wherever you go, arrive with curiosity and leave room in your plans. Georgia has a way of changing the shape of a day. A brief meal can become a supra. A walk through an old town can become an evening spent talking beneath a balcony. A view from a tower can make you forget how long it took to get there. And long after the map has been folded away, you may remember Georgia not as a destination, but as the warmth of a table set for one more guest. For more trip ideas like this one, visit our blog at Ottimo AI. See you on the next journey.
Ottimo AI. Better trips, better life.